Third, demand analysis. Why a demand curve has a negative slope or downward sloping. The first reason is that old and new bias. If the price of a good falls, the real income of the old buyers will increase. Consequently, the demand for the good will increase. In the same way, new buyers who were unable to buy the good at a higher price will be able to buy it after a fall in its price. As a result, the demand curve slopes downwards from left to right. Second reason, second one, income effect. The real income of a consumer rises due to a fall in the price of a commodity. He spends the increased income on the same commodity and thus demand increases. Third reason, substitution effect. When the price of a commodity falls, it becomes a relatively cheaper and is substituted for other goods. Fourth one, law of diminishing marginal utility. According to this law, if an individual consumes more of a particular good, the utility that the gets from additional units will diminish. Due to this reason, the demand curve slows from left to right to onwards. Fifth one, multiple uses of a commodity. There are some commodities which have multiple uses like milk, coal, and electricity. If prices of these commodities fall, there will be a greater demand for these goods rather than those which are restricted to a particular use. As a great result, the demand curve slope has a negative slope. And another question is that what are the factors that determine price elasticity of demand? The following are some of the important factors on which the elasticity of demand for a commodity depends. First one, nature of commodity. In case of necessity, the elasticity of demand will be inelastic. For example, rice, pulses, sugar, and salt. Second one, availability of close substitutes. The prices of substitutes influence the demand for a commodity up to a certain extent. For instance, increase in the price of Colgate leads to the increase in the demand for close-up and vice versa. And third one, complementary goods. Car and petrol of shoes and socks are used jointly because they are complementary. If the price of car increases, the demand for petrol decreases, and if the price of car decreases, the demand for petrol increases. Fourth one, multiple uses of the commodity. The more the possible uses of commodity, the greater will be its price. Elastic coal and electricity have multiple uses and will have the elastic demand. Fifth one, postponement of purchases. We can certainly postpone the purchase of certain goods like vehicles, ornaments, and AC from present to future as they have elastic demand. Sixth one, proportion of income spent. If the proportion of income spent on a particular commodity is very small, the demand for it will be tend to be an inelastic. Seventh one, period of time. In the short run, demand is inelastic. In the long run, demand will be the more elastic longer the time period considered. Greater will be the possibility of substitution for each cheaper good. And other determinants also that the price level and goods leads to addition. Another one is the income group. So next question is that explain the importance of elasticity of demand. First one, useful to monopolist. A monopolist will fix a higher price when the commodity has inelastic demand, but he will fix a lower price when the commodity has elastic demand. Second one, useful to joint products. The concept of useful in the price fixation of joint goods like sugar and molasses. It too difficult to assess certain separate costs of these joint goods. So the higher price is fixed for a good with inelastic demand and lower price for a good with elastic demand. Third one, useful to government. The welfare of the people, the government will undertake these industries which products have the inelastic demand, for example, railways, drug and industries, etc. Fourth one, useful to international trade. The calculating the terms of trade, the both countries have taken into account the mutual elasticities of demand for their products. Fifth one, useful to the finance minister and useful to management. Sixth one, if the demand for a workers is inelastic, the demand for trade unions or raise wages will be the fruitful. If the demand for workers is elastic, the efforts of trade unions to the rise wages may not be useful. Seventh one, prosperity in the mindset of plenty, and the eighth one is useful to the producer.